Hey, welcome to our podcast today. This is Coach Eric Johnson, the brand.
And this coach here in Thickpin the Source. Yeah, it's been a while, guys, since we've been out here on here. Just been busy, lots of things going on, but hope to get the ball rolling again. Uh, but today we've got a pretty good subject. EJ's out on the road with his teams, and he's kind of seeing some things. And what better time to talk about what he's seeing than now? It's timely. I'm sure you guys may be experiencing the subject that we're actually talking about. And EJ, I want you to introduce that subject because it's definitely something that could be of interest to a lot of our listeners.
I think it is, Aaron. It's summer. Obviously, we're 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, almost 4 weeks into playing competitive baseball, and I'm seeing a consistent thing happening with all teams. And when I start to see is the athletes are injured. I'm starting to see injuries, nagging injuries, shoulder, elbow issues, leg injuries. You know, I don't know if the athletes are fatigued, in shape, um, tired from high school ball. I don't know, but there's a different vibe than I've seen before, Aaron. It's different. I've seen more injuries to players, pitchers' shoulders, elbows, position players' legs. And it seems like, and speaking of, I've seen in the past 2 weeks, Aaron, I have seen, my goodness, 20 something games, man. And I see athletes who haven't trained suffering the most. I see them just either out of shape, or their arms are not in shape, or we're getting them in shape. And there's this stalling period where, okay, we're getting you to a certain point, but we have to push back a little bit because you're not healthy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we've kind of, what's that saying? Forewarned is something, something. But uh, we actually had a couple of podcasts about this. I mean, we recently just did the one, God, it was just was it April? We
Right.
did it's spring, but keep an eye on summer. And
Right.
we were talking about, hey, it's time to get on some of that training that you're going to need to carry you through, the summer. And you mentioned a few things, reasons that you speculated why athletes are getting hurt now, and it's actually all of those you've mentioned.
Yeah.
Some are out of shape, some are detrained, some are overworked from competitions, and some never did anything to begin with, and now it's catching up to them. I've gotten calls from and texts and communications from athletes who are going through those periods of dead arm, or
Right.
where they're feeling a little this or feeling a little that, um, because they didn't heed our warning of training through the season. And we've probably got two or three podcasts that address that over the last. We do at least one every year. So
Right.
you guys should check our library and go back to that. I'm sure we'll reiterate some of that stuff today, but it just cannot be overstressed that you guys have to continue to do your training at some level. Again, it's like, putting money in the bank and having it to spend. And, you guys have been out there spending like, drunken sailors. And uh, now you're on shore leave again, and you're
Right.
finding your pockets empty. And it's just when, you're at the greatest places. So, um, it's hard to regroup at this stage,
Yes.
um, because you don't have the days to give away, and maybe because you're overworked, you're now having to work through an injury as well as trying to compete, or you're flat and you're tired and you can't afford, or there aren't the available days that you can take off to give your body a chance to recover and reset. So you're kind of in this spiral, and it's an my answer to that and how you get out of that is it's kind of individually based. It could be, complete rest. It could be partial rest. It could be taking a step back and reevaluating your mechanics, because you guys have to understand your mechanics change as your physical condition changes. And it doesn't necessarily mean anything is going wrong. It just means you may have to make an adjustment. So you may not have as much power as you did in January, where you're fresh off of training, but because you have less power, you may have to do other things to still be successful. Maybe it's, I don't know, shortening your stride when you're throwing, or elongating your stride, or shortening your swing when you're, where you're doing that sort of thing. There's adjustments that you may have to make because your body is now saying, hey, I can't do this that way anymore.
Yeah. It's a good point. Aaron, I just, I've got all these thoughts because I think about all the things you've just said. And I think about one of our athletes that we share, and his journey, and he's playing for me this summer. And I just watch him catch 7 straight days because we had an injury, right? Mm-hmm. And this guy is in, and you're catching, right? So your legs are going to be tired, Aaron, right? Your legs, you're down squat and all that stuff. This guy, man, tore it up. I mean, he tore it up because I think he trained with you, and he trained, and he continues to train. And I saw him in the gym downstairs, and he was working out every other day, or 4 times. And the 7 days he worked out 4 times. And I could see him, like, I don't know if he was gaining confidence or what he was doing, but he seemed fresh. And it's 105 degrees. He got the catch gear on, man. And he hit 2 inside the park home runs and like 2 triples. And he's moving. And he's not, so I think how you train, like the money in the bank you said early, doing that stuff, it pays off, but he's not injured. Another player, for instance, who just joined our club, but he trains a lot. This guy's psycho, man. This guy's in there every day working out, doing stuff, and they look fresh. It's amazing, though they're playing every day, though they are working hard, they don't look like they're even tired. So there's something to be said, right?
Oh, exactly. I mean, I don't hate to tell you I told you so, but I told you so. I don't know why people aren't going to learn this lesson. And, they have every excuse in the book, hey, well, I had to practice, and I had this, and I had that. And you know what? I see guys who make it happen. And
right.
To be honest with you, and I've said it before, and a lot of baseball players may get offended, baseball is not that strenuous a sport physically. And it's not hard to stay in shape for baseball. It isn't. I'm sorry. I train all kind of athletes. It's not hard to get to a certain level and maintain that. You just got to decide you're going to do it. And really what it comes down to is time management. Athletes aren't managing their time well enough so that they can get that work in. That 30-minute workout, that 20-minute flush out. They're not, and they're not disciplined to do that work. And that's really what it comes down to. So I don't have a whole lot of sympathy,
right,
for these athletes when they get in a situation, especially if they've worked with me and I've already told them, for my athletes, I say, hey, look, it's summer. You need to start doing a summer program. While I'm traveling, well, get your travel program, and right. So I'll write a couple of travel programs for the kids who, are keen enough to take advantage of that sort of thing. And those kids are fine. I have other kids, they didn't do anything over the high school season. They're not doing anything now. And, you're talking about, I want to get recruited. I want to get signed. And as we say all the time, if this is the most crucial part of your baseball season,
right,
then you should be at optimal or near optimal levels. So you just basically, pissed off everything that you were doing on your high school season. And did anyone come to see you during the high school season?
Right, man. Hey,
I'm just gonna keep it real.
right, but it's true though, Aaron, because check this out. Here we are in Arizona playing tournament, and yeah, we got into the consolation bracket because we tied 2 games. Check this out, man. I had more colleges come and watch us play the last 4 days in the consolation games than I had in the other bracket games because they want to see guys. And I mean, so why aren't you going to invest in yourself? And go do the 30-minute workout and the 20-minute workout, flush workout, and keep it consistent. The biggest thing I see is that athletes don't want to pay the price, man. They don't want to pay the price and be consistent with 30 minutes of their day. It's the summertime. We're not going to school right now.
Exactly. I just wrote an article, or maybe we did a podcast, something basically just saying, hey, look, I think it was an article on the web on my webpage. But anyway, it talks about, hey, this is the prime time to make moves because this is when you're going to have the most available hours. You're not going to be at school 6 or 8 hours. You're not going to have, your high school practice. You're not going to have all of these things on these demands on your time that make it hard to get these things in. This is, even if you're doing travel ball now, this is still a time where you can get a lot of work done because you have more available hours. And for those people who say, well, we don't have the time, you don't have the will. That's really what it comes down to. You don't have the will.
Straight up, man.
I'm not going to soft shoe this because people need to hear it. And I'm going to say it, and I'll be having the same speech. I'll make the same speech again next summer.
Right.
Because people just, either they don't care or they're not willing to do what it takes to achieve where they want to go.
I'm going to tell you this. I've been here 2 weeks now, and I've seen these 3 guys excel. And they've excelled because they're actually putting those coins in that piggy bank and just collecting interest on the hard work they put in prior to the season, during the high school season, and during the summer, where this seems like, here's the other thing, Aaron, I think. Summer ball mentality. Oh, it's summer ball. We just do what we want to do. Oh, it's summer ball. It's lazy fair. It's not that serious. I heard somebody say it. I go, really?
But yet they want to get recruited.
Right, exactly. It's serious. And so I'm gonna jog down the baseline. After I get out, I'm gonna walk back to the dugout and look like a chump. Right. And I'm just gonna act out and do what I want to. I'm just gonna be just not a athlete. And I'm like, dudes, like, hey, do you realize who's watching you? Like every time, well, you couldn't have said any better. Someone's always watching you. You said that someone's always watching you, EJ. And you know what? They are. And the guys are like, dude, I don't like that guy, EJ. EJ, this guy doesn't run, or this guy doesn't hustle. I don't like his energy, man. I had a college coach tell me this. Man, I checked out this video, man. He's a little hyper there, isn't he? A little hyper about, he's getting pumped up about that.
Yeah.
I want a focused athlete, so the college coaches, you can't fool them. Stop trying to think you're fooling them. Like, no one's watching. Everybody's watching you at any time. Put forth the effort. You got to work in the dark. We said it before, Aaron. These guys ain't working in the dark. It's a summer ball mentality where I go pick up my phone, have my buddies, stay out past curfew. Let me go to the pool, hang out in the pool, and do that. And, I'm seeing injuries, man, because these guys are not focused. And another thing is that people aren't recovering.
Yeah.
That's part of your routine. You got to recover. Some guys making fun of one of our pitchers who up there recovering all the time. He came out today and was shoved all day because of his recovery, of his work. All that stuff it just manifested today in his 5 innings of work because he did it the right way. And he looked like he was like at energy. He's out there running sprints after this dude. Hey, man, this dude's after the game. He got done pitching. He out there doing his recovery workout. He's not sitting on the bench messing around like, hey, man, I do great. Let me just kind of chill. Let me get on my phone, or we don't allow phones. But, he's not into that mentality. He's out there doing his recovery work and also cheering for his teammates. That's impressive, man. People like that stuff. People that can influence your future like that stuff, man. Do it the right way. I tell people, if you're going to do it, Do it the right way and put everything into it. Just don't fake and shake, because I see a lot of faking and shaking going on. That's why we have these injuries, man. Faking and shaking.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay, we've had the bitch session part of this. um, you know, we'll try. I'll try and give you some answers.
Antidotes. Yeah.
You know, again, it's up for you guys to drink the Kool-Aid or what. But you know, if you're in a situation where you're flat, you gotta find time to recover. I mean, just recover right now. In other words, make sure you're getting, you know, the right amount of sleep. Take naps in between your competitions instead of, you know, going playing PlayStation or hanging around the pool or the pool table or ping pong table, whatever you kids do nowadays. Anyway,
Yep.
You know, make sure you're eating properly, not just the day of competition, because that's what everyone does. Oh yeah, I'm gonna, you know, I got a game tomorrow. Now I'm gonna eat good. Well, you need to be eating, you know, all week really, but at least 48 hours out, you should be consuming the right, you know, fuels and you know, clean foods and that sort of thing before. That will help you. If you're not on, you know, a good multivitamin, you need to be taking a good multivitamin. Other things like maybe quiet time. It's very easy to be overstimulated in those environments because there's a lot going on. You know, you're competing, but then as well as all other sorts of things that might be going on. And your teammates might be high energy back at the hotel. And, you know, obviously sometimes you need to pull yourself out of that and just sit and watch a movie, you know, or sit and read a book. Or I don't know if you guys read books anymore, but anyway, listen to a book, you know, audible. Love that, man. And, you know, do those sorts of things. If you've got an injury, that's a very delicate situation. Yeah. My thing is, you know, most injuries are repetitive stress injuries.
Yes.
And the only way for them to go away is for you to stop doing the activity.
Right.
If you can't stop doing the activity, then definitely lower the volume, because you necessarily can't lower the intensity because you're competing now.
Right.
But try and lower the volume and try and take bigger rest periods in between those times where you have to, you know, to do that sort of thing.
Right.
For those of you who have the ability, or at least have, I won't say the ability, but have the will to still want to work out, then start to do some basic things. I always tell the kids, if you don't know what to do and you haven't gotten anything from me, give me 2 upper body, 2 lower body, full chain exercises. I'm not talking about bicep curl. I'm talking about full chain press and pull types of exercises, leg presses, lunges, squats, you know, nothing muscle isolation. Those things will help with recovery. They'll help with, you know, promoting blood flow, kind of getting that synergy of flow back into the muscles and shouldn't tighten you up. But now is not the time to be like, okay, well, I'm going to try and, you know, do some kind of CrossFit or superset workout. It's too late for that, dude. I wouldn't even recommend those anyway. But, you know, that's the mentality. Oh, no, I'm not. It's like, man, you missed the boat, dude. You know, try and survive through this summer and not make the same mistake next summer.
Oh man.
You know, those, you know, some of the things that you may want to do. And some of you guys, you know what? Shut it down. It's just time to shut it down. Sometimes you just got to walk away.
Right.
And, you know, because if the performance isn't there or if the injury is there, you might just be doing more damage, one, to your athletic credibility in terms of your performance, or you might be just making an injury situation worse. And
hey, I got to go ahead. I'm sorry.
And just lastly, I'm going to get on the parents a little bit about this, because, you know, sometimes it's easy for the parents to kind of sit back and say, well, hey, I don't know. But part of your job is to kind of keep that one eye open and say, hey, what's going on with my kid? And I know it's not always easy because I know these kids don't always say stuff. They don't always want to talk, but, be a little more observant than, more so than did he get a hit or not, this game, or maybe he didn't throw 90 or whatever the case may be. Don't get caught up on those things, but look at how your kid is looking. Look how he's holding himself. Look at how his demeanor is. Look at what his energy level's like. Your son, your daughter. Those are things that you can pick up on and ask those questions. And if you may have to press them to get the right answer. But, this is something that, again, these kids are young. They don't know. And some of them think they're bulletproof. And some of them aren't going to say when they're hurting.
Right.
It's your job to kind of figure that out.
I have a question for you. And I don't know if this is age related or this has anything to do. Why? I see these 14, 15-year-old kids who are freshmen, just finished their freshman year in high school, and they're just there. And they look like they don't have any direction, or they look tired, or they're just not in really good shape. Like, I'm telling you, there's like 2 or 3% of the kids that look all right, and the rest of them just look like they're zombies, man. What, and I don't know. They just look like, what you been doing? What you doing?
Yeah, most middle school kids are always late to the party. Always. They treat themselves like they're still playing Little League. And, they might make it through the high school program.
Right.
But again, most freshman high school programs aren't that strenuous. They're not trying to beat the kids up. So they're probably not investing that much time into their physical development. So they maybe aren't doing the preseason and conditioning training that maybe the varsity team is getting, or if they are, they could be kind of an afterthought, and no one's really monitoring what's going on. So those kids are even worse shape, and they're not used to this long of a season because they're not used to having a high school season.
Yeah.
Right? They have their middle school season, and then they have then it's pretty much kind of wait for a travel ball season to start.
Right.
So they're not having the number of games and the demands on their time like they would normally until they're freshmen. And so summer comes, it's probably doubled, the stress on them.
Yeah.
So, that's why you got to have a high school ready program. And you've got to have a way of operating early on instead of waiting till after the fact.
Yeah. Because after the fact is too late. And in terms of, NCAA rules have changed on college recruiting, but people still out there watching, man. Last week I was there at the 15U. There were schools out here watching from afar.
Yeah, no one wants to miss anyone. They're still going to take notes.
They're taking notes, man. You guys are taking notes, and people are looking, and before the dead period, they're not recruiting people. So that's what I'm thinking, man. That's I don't mean to belabor the point, but yeah.
No, I get it. So I don't have anything else to say on this.
I don't either, man. It's good to have the conversation, and look forward to speaking to you again. If you had any notes for us, you want us to talk about any subjects, hit us back up. It's the Brand and the Source. This is Coach EJ, the Brand.
This is Coach Aaron, the Source. We'll see you.